Hi, what's going on guys? It's Almond. Welcome back to another Wizard101 video. In today's video, I'm gonna make a video just talking about the gear that basically came out with this whole update for Selenopolis. And I've heard some good and bad things about the gear, but I want to give you guys my opinions. We're gonna look through all the gear and everything like that, so this can be like a video that people can look back on that will show you all the gear that you can get currently in test realm, excluding the gear that you can get from just like the random mob fights and stuff like that, like the lower tier gear that like basically nobody's gonna use. So I'll give you guys my opinions and thoughts and show you guys the differences between them. So if you do enjoy this type of content, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, all type of stuff. Join Discord if you guys haven't. I appreciate all the people that have been joining Discord. Appreciate all the people that have been turning on their notifications, stopping by the streams, whether it be on Twitch and YouTube, or just following me on either YouTube or Twitch. I appreciate all you guys. It means a lot. Honestly, it truly means a lot. But let's get into the content, shall we? So we have a couple vendors here in Selenopolis, and I want to quickly go over the other ones before we get to the gear crafter, because we're going to be spending most of our time here, and it's going to be quickly going over this one. So we do have a new jewel vendor and stuff like that, so if you do want to get some jewels from here as well, it's kind of similar to the ones in Wallaroo. But the one thing I did notice, and is the crafter, obvious, this crafter specifically, it's the same like identical crafter to the one in Wallaroo, but just different reagent, which is the moon dust you get from like farming specific bosses and stuff. But what I did notice is there's no blades here. If you look, usually for the tier sockets we have like our death blade and stuff like that, but this has all traps. So if you want to get specific traps, from what it seems like, I mean, hey, I do want to put this in here just in case. I mean, maybe this is just like not intentional, who knows? But what I do notice a lot is there are trap jewels for tier sockets. So if that's something up your alley, hey, that's here. But I didn't see it at the other vendor, but I saw it here, so I'm not too sure. That's the only thing notable I want to talk about this vendor. And then this vendor, of course, is the challenge mode vendor, because we will be having challenge mode gear. So if you do participate in challenge mode and you do collect all the badges similar to Wallaroo, I don't think I made a video on the one for Wallaroo, but I'll talk about this one. Basically, if you get all like completions, whether it be like completing it for the first time and then completing it like a set amount of times, like 20, 30, 40, whatever the badge is in test realm, you'll be able to unlock this gear, but you have to finish all of them, keep in mind. So you get this hat. I know some people might like this, some people might not. So it's hit or miss depending on how you view it. And then of course we have the robe. I know some people like this robe because of the wings, and I guess like the chest plate is like a little bit animated. The boots, I mean, hey, it's part of the set. If you like it, that's up to you. And then I know like a lot of people do want these wands. They're basically swords, like they're like the two-handed swords. I wish these were one-handed, because we have a lot of big great swords, and I sometimes wish that they were one-handed. That's like the main reason why I use this weapon particularly, or this wand, because it's one-handed. If this was two-handed, I would most likely not use it at all. But I wish these swords were one-handed. It would be so clean, it'd be so nice, and I feel like a lot more people would be using these. But I'm still gonna try. I haven't like fully decided, but at the moment I do want to kind of grind these. Now I know that's crazy to say, right? That I'm gonna be grinding something like this for like an cosmetic, but each to their own. So I'm, if I do it in live realm, I will. But currently there's only one challenge mode to do at the moment. At the time I'm recording this, there was only one challenge mode that I was able to find. I've literally done every single side quest and everything that I can right now in test realm. I'm not even joking. But yeah, the quests are currently bugged right now in test realm, so you can literally do every single side quest here and everything like that, but you can't progress in the story because one quest is bugged. It's not because of a spoiler wall or anything, it's just literally bugged. So there's that. And then the last vendor I want to talk about is the socket wrencher one. Basically you can transmute socket wrenches and transmute down. So if you have a legendary socket wrench from like farming crash and stuff like that, you can transmute this down to get a grandmaster one. You can use that grandmaster one and like use it on other stuff as well. So kind of nice. So right here, like you can get an arson one by using a grandmaster, and then right here you can get an adept one if you use an expert. and so forth. So like it's a nice system. I think this is really nice, and I feel like people are going to be visiting this because farming like the lower level soccer ranches is very tedious, and now that we have like a system for that, it's honestly really good. Now now that we got those vendors out of the way, I know the main portion is the gear, but I do want to cover those. I didn't want to like cover those and make it in like an 8-minute video just talking about those because it's not worth it. But now let's actually talk about the gear crafter. So we do have the moon dust, which you get from the bosses, I believe. It's literally similar to Wallaroo, right? Where you have those 4 or 5 bosses that you farm, and that's how you get the moon dust, right? There's one boss that does drop amulets and wands, which I will be posting within the next couple days. I have like 20 videos, something on my notepad. It's actually insane, but there is a lot of videos that are gonna be coming out. But yes, and then you can transmute it for parchment, and I don't know why. But yeah, essentially you got moon dust and parchment and ancient scroll. I don't know if the parchment is just a placeholder, right? I don't want to like 100% put it out there just because I saw this and I was just like, wait, what? But I know the moon dust is new, right? So there's that. But let's go over the hats, right? At the end of this video, I will like right before I end, I will go through each and individual one, but let's specifically talk about fire. So fire has this piece right here. Now you can see where it says new gear changes, there's nothing new, right? And that is because there's 2 sets of gear that you can get in here and Wallaroo. Wallaroo has the Dream Reaver, which you get from farming Malice. In this world, or this area, you have the Avatar's Crown of Wrath, or the Avatar set. And you get the same exact stats. Main thing is, item card is different. Now, this is going to be up to you as a player. Do you want to farm this gear depending on your playstyle? Number 1, are you going to be using the Furnace Remover? Yes or no? You got to ask yourself. No, maybe it's nice having that balance blade. I think it's always still good to have it. And guess what? Guess what, guys? I'm literally going to be farming all the hats because I want the balance blades, right? That's going to be for me. It's an easy replacement. I can see myself using it. I can see myself using it in challenge mode without having to carry a TC and stuff like that, or relying on a pet. It's there, and I don't have to mess with my stats too much, right? So 100% I am going to be farming this. Another thing, do you even have the Reaver hood? If you don't even have the Reaver hood, maybe it's worth waiting for the Avatar Crown. Currently, I can't tell you where this is from because I don't know where this drops from, right? I'm pretty sure like other people have found out, they're like leaks and stuff. But personally, me, I try not to look at like all that stuff. So I don't even know where this drops, right? And we're not even done with the world yet. Like this area, zone, everything, however you want to describe it, side area, whatever. Because of the soft lock on the quest. So eventually I will make a video, right? I know a lot of people are gonna be wondering, where's the video? I will make a video of who drops what. I literally did the exact same time with, or exact same thing with Wallaroo. I will do the exact same thing with here. Nothing's changed. So there's that. And depending on that, it will be like, oh, wherever this comes from, wherever the boss is that boss hard? Is he tedious? Is it quicker than doing the Nightmare Dungeon? Right? That's going to be the toss-up when it comes to the gear as you as a player. You got to ask yourself, 1, do you like the item card? 2, do you already have Reaver? Then you should probably not farm this. Don't waste your time. And then 3 is, if you don't have either, which is the easiest to farm? Which I can't answer that right now. But I do want to like preface that. I will talk about that in another video. So hold your horses when it comes to all that. But from just looking at it straightforward, I like the Avatar one because it does come with the balance blade. I would use that in PvE and I would use that in advanced content. But PvP players would probably want the Furnace. So there's that. So that's like the basic premise of the Avatar hat. We'll go to the Avatar robes too. Avatar robes, same thing. I would have to put on my Reaver robe for the purpose of this because I don't use Reaver. If you guys already seen my setup video, I've already explained why I don't use Reaver. So if we go over here, you can see same exact stat, but you get an Ellie blade. This is up to you because you know you don't have perfect pips with your setups if you use Reaver. So this one is up to you if you even want to farm it. It's going to be the same situation as like my previous setup videos if it's worth even getting this. Now this is in my opinion, if you do use Reaver robe, I would still use the fire blade. It's a 40%. You can have an LE blade from so many other sources. So I would personally keep the 0 pip fire blade. That is me if you really want to use Reaver. So there's that. And then now if we go to our boots, we can go to storm or fire actually. Sorry, we can go to fire and you can see exact same stats. Now the boots I would not switch out. Realistically, as a spirit blade for PvE, I'm not going to be using it. Right, for challenge mode, it would be it depends on if there's a myth hitter. If there's a myth hitter, I would use it, or if there's a death hitter. I have yet to use a life hitter in challenge mode, not to my knowledge, so I would just not. But if you are using like the blades from here for supporting capabilities, maybe farm the boots. But if I'm being genuinely honest, just looking at this with, you know, an honest review, just only farm the hats. Now, same thing with the wands. The wands is up to you as well. But I use Shababa wand, so this wand has no effect on me. Now, I don't even think I'm carrying a... Yeah, I'm not even carrying the regular Reaver wand on me. So if you do have Reaver wand, you can choose this if you want to. Now, am I gonna say you have to? No, because this is really up to you. Now, for the PvE min-max setups, I'm still gonna choose Shababa. Shababa's literally better, right? It doesn't change anything. It has 1 extra pierce, so you can clearly tell. And I get the sun trap. So Shababa's still better. Or Fairymancer and Shababa are literally better. So I wouldn't worry about the wands, but if you care about the aesthetic, sure. And then everything else is basically the same, but the amulets we can look at real quick. It basically gives you an magnify and brace. Would I recommend this for PvE and PvP players? PvP players, you use your different amulets, so I wouldn't worry too much. Hunthound is just all that stuff. Hunthound, Shababa is all good, but for PvE players, I wouldn't worry about the amulets. Literally the Dream Reaver ones, if you already have that, that's better. Right, if you already have Hunthound, Shababa, don't even worry about amulets. But if you are someone that's using Reaver and you're like, oh, should I farm the Avatar one? No, the Reaver one is better because it gives you a blade. So the blade is I treat as more value than these 2 item cards. So don't worry about the amulets as well. And then the decks, if we're comparing them to like Shababa, if we go over here to fire, this one can be subjective too, right? Because it depends on what you're doing, right? I am most likely going to be swapping the deck. Reason being is if you look at my setup, if I go put it back, if we put the fire setup on and go to my deck, I have 3 sun traps. I literally have 3 sun traps. So I would drop my deck and I would switch this to this deck for the LE trap. Now, would I be using it as a permanent? You know, am I always going to be running it? No, because Shababa is still better for the health. But this is good just for advanced content sake and certain fights. I do like carrying this item card without having to switch my tier jewel. So I don't mind dropping a sun trap for an LE trap because I already own 3. And then same thing with the hats. I don't mind dropping the aura. I don't use the aura, so I get a blade from it. So I most likely, if you want to like be like, Almond, what should I farm first out of all the setups, like comparing to your old videos, realistically I would only, if I had the choice to farm all of this stuff, I'd realistically only switch the hat in all my setups just for the blade, which is very niche. I wouldn't recommend it, right? It's like very niche. And then the decks, I would farm them only specifically to have them as an option for when I'm doing trap stacking or blade stacking or doing whatever I'm doing in challenge mode and advanced content or just even regular questing, right? Because I already have two sun traps, right? Like I'll drop one from my deck and then I have one on my wand, and on top of that my amulet gives me another, right? So you got to take that all into consideration with my setups that I showed in the video. So I would realistically only farm the hats. So now let's actually talk about the other setup. Now that you get that, the avatar setup is basically just Dream Reaver 1-to-1. Only thing is the item cards. So out of all of them, I would farm the hat and the deck if you already own Dream Reaver. This, when I make a video later on, is Dream Reaver boss easier to farm or is the avatar boss easier to farm? So like the nightmare dungeon and whatever the dungeon is in this area. I'll make a video on that later. Then we have this Konsu. I don't know how to pronounce it, maybe I'm butchering it. It's a really nice ditch, right? What is this? Now, this is very close to Stalker gear. So I'm gonna put on Stalker gear. I did move it over just for the purpose of me showing you guys. I will put on the full set. I'm not gonna put on the Athenian Amulet ring deck. Just because it's very tedious at that point. But we can quickly look at the fire one right here. And you can see that there is slight changes. So it's not a one-to-one stalker. If you can see with this new gear setup, I gained 4 extra shads and I do get 199 HP. I do lose 2 res and I do lose 2 accuracy. But this is up to you if this is something that you want to farm. I can't give you a full opinion yet because I would have to mix mix match setups for like certain fights. So I wouldn't give you an ideal like, oh, this is what you want, like, and everything like that, because I'm most likely just gonna get all this gear anyways from doing challenge mode, so it's not really an issue to me. But for the casual player, I wouldn't recommend farming this, because if you just want to use Reaver, you're fine. Stalker's like the alternative setup if you want to do like defensive stuff. Like, this is something that like I would go get like on a life or something, on balance or like death or something, or maybe even myth. But like yeah, I wouldn't worry too much about it right now, but there is some slight differences, as you guys saw, with the extra shads and the health. I can see people using this to like reduce the shad gauge of enemies so they don't get shads as fast. That's like the one alternative I can see from this. And I mean, you do get extra HP, but if you already hit the cap in advanced content, it doesn't really affect you too much. And then if we go to the robe, the robes look nice too. This even goes with the Dream Reaver stuff. Like, I can see someone just wearing this and just calling it a day with like the stalker setup, I mean. But if we go over here to fire, you can see there's some slight changes too. So now the robe, you lose HP and you lose some damage, but you gain pierce and block. So take that into consideration too. And yes, the item cards are different and the sockets are the exact same. Same thing with this one. If we go over here, you can see it gives another fire dispel. All these are given dispels, but it's the same sockets, so keep that in mind too. And then if we go to the boots, you can see right here, the boots give more HP and they give more shad rating, but in return you lose resist and accuracy. So it just really depends on the setup, and you do get a vaporize. Now the wands, I don't see anybody use the wands. I will say that. I don't even remember when was the last time I said, hey, go get your stalker wand. That I don't remember. But if you do want to compare these, you can see right here, I do gain 12 damage, but realistically it's actually 6 because you're losing 6 and you're gaining 12. And then when it comes to the pierce, you are losing good amount of pierce from what it seems like, because right here you have 12 pierce and then right here you have 8. So yeah, that's a thing. And then the item cards of course are different too, so that's a thing as well. So if you really want the glacial golem and the max tier fire elf, maybe you want to use it. But I feel like people are, if anything, people are gonna get this stitch, like we'll get the whole set for the stitch. Realistically, I can see people running around wearing this robe. Same thing with the hat, because like the little moon, and then the boots just for the set, and then the wands I can see people using just for stitches. Like, this is really good stitch gear, I will say. But yeah, so right now, as I would like, my whole opinion, do you need to farm this gear if you have all the other stuff from my previous videos? No. I wouldn't worry about the gear at all. Now if you want to like switch up your gear slightly, sure, you can, you know, if you prefer the certain item cards like me, like I said, I'm gonna farm all the hats and I'm gonna farm all the decks, right? Am I gonna be using the decks as my permanent setup? No. It's just for whenever I have to do certain fights and I need to switch out my item card, but the hats I will always use. So there's that. But that's my honest review. Right now, I don't know how bad it is to farm this new dungeon or whatever, because we're soft locked, right? So whenever that video comes out, I will tell you, should you farm the nightmare dungeon, should you farm the new dungeon, and I will give you an honest conclusion. But right now, I need people to bear with me because I keep getting asked in DMs about, should I farm the gear, should I farm the gear, do I need the gear? Guys, it's not even in live realm yet. So like, things can change. You guys got to know that. But that is it for me from this portion of like the talking portion. I will include the going over the, like, just hovering over all the pieces of gear, so people from the wiki or just anyone else that doesn't have the time to go and test them, they can just look back at the video, and then they can just pause it at any point and see what gear they like. So there's that. But that's enough for me. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, enjoyed my thoughts and everything like that. You guys let me know your thoughts down below about this whole gear. I know some people are kind of disappointed that it's not new template or like something different, but you guys got to keep in mind the item cards are different. People were complaining about the nightmare dungeon. Who knows if this dungeon's easier, etc, etc, etc. So I'll do more thoughts about this whole like concept in another video. But that is it for me. Leave a like, subscribe, all type of stuff. Join Discord, stop by the Twitch channel, turn on your notifications, all that stuff. I'll hopefully be streaming tomorrow. Right now it's like, I can actually tell you the time right now. It's 3 in the morning. It is 3 in the morning and I'm recording videos, editing videos, so there's that. But that is it. I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Peace out, guys.